hopefully indicate that they can develop and do better in an international setting.
Yeah, and last time they went to MSI was as the 2 seed in 2024. Creme and JackeyLove, of course, still with the team, and Tian was also with the roster after having his hiatus back with Weibo in 25, back with the team in 2026. So a large chunk of that roster hoping to make it back to international play again at the midseason mark.
So Ashe Seraphine both up and available here. Looking across the rest of the picks that are there. They're going to look to split this up. Now, Seraphine does have some good pairings outside of the Ashe, which we would expect to be taken away here by WE, unless they've got, they're going to go Lucian Milio and try and throw hands up against it. Looks like with the junglers focused as well, I mentioned at the top of the show, didn't expect Neferi to get taken by anybody, and that was just going to be a blanket ban for WE. We'll see what it is, because I think that for the WE side, they've put a lot of emphasis on giving Monki that sticking power, the ability to make something happen early on. And then in that R5 pick from game number 2, it just didn't work. Maybe it's time to start flipping the script. Are we looking for somewhere else to have that R5 that can really warp the game?
I think the goal could have been to get last pick to Monki, but if you have Ashe, Seraphine, and Zhao all on the same team, that has traditionally been a formula where you win the game. And so WE trying to avoid that, they lock in the Xin themselves to take it away from Tian, Monki's most played champion of this split. And so definitely very comfortable on the pick.
Now it's a question of what does Tian elect to take into that Zhao. Has still got a little bit of time to be thinking about it. We know that the Ashe is going to get locked in here. We expect that the Milio is going to get locked in by WE on 3 as well. So they're going to start considering what sort of bans they want to throw towards top esports with an already very good team fighting composition picked up with the Ashe Seraphine. Maybe a little bit of poke coming in with the Jayce as well. We want to try and take away from any of the poke in the future style or in the future of this one. Obviously, we've got the long range engage of an ECA and Encore over the top of it. Top Esports got a very good ranged composition thus far, and for WE, they need to find a way to get into it.
This Jayce, one of the picks that put ZUIAN on the map when he first debuted with TES at the start of this split. Could go to him, could go to a number of other lanes as well, if we've seen that flexibility throughout the league so far this year. Final pickup here for WE will be that Milio, as we said. This Lucian Milio lane has been a good answer into this Ashe Seraphine, but Rood, this season, right?
Yeah.
JackeyLove 5-1 on the Ashe, fengyue 7-2 on the Seraphine. This is a very powerful duo, specifically in these guys' hands.
And obviously the Lucian Milio has that cleanse, but I think that pre-level 6 still can be a little bit difficult. Obviously it's taken into the Ashe Seraphine specifically, so we'd expect it to still be good for WE here down on that bot side. It's an area of the map that has been quite volatile through the early stages of the game. And now for WE, obviously trying to find a way back into this one, they need some of that late game insurance policy. They need something that's going to see them over the edge into that late game. Unfortunately, they've not got the hyper carry role available for that, so they might be relying very heavily on something from Karis, something from Cube. Maybe just a tank into the top side for Cube, and then R5 from Karis if he's got something spicy locked in his wheelhouse. The LeBlanc taken off the board, the Ari taken away as well, so some aggressive picks taken out. Looks like it's going to be a control mage blind here for Karis to try and take, and then looking to give Cube that R5 to save the game.
Cube sneakily has had a pretty decent, he had a decent game 1, maybe the game 2 not up to snuff, but has been somebody who has been locking in a little bit more in the postseason, playing against veteran, experienced top laners like Bin and Flandra so far in this upper bracket, and performing rather admirably in those situations. Gonna have that pool targeted though with the Cassante and Gragas both taken away. A flexible Aurora could be the answer to make sure that either side gets a matchup that they feel comfortable on.
Joint second most played here for Karis, definitely a pick that he's been relatively proficient on, relatively prolific on as well in terms of numbers of games played. But Top Esports going very, very aggressive with this composition. It looks like with the Twisted Fate, we've got no tank, we've got no frontline, and we're looking to kind of play on the very edge, the full limits of this composition, where if one person gets caught out, they probably die. We'll see if Top Esports are going to round that out with anything, or if Tian is happy to bite the bullet a little bit in this one, take the tank that he needs to, and I say tank, more the front line that he needs to in this game.
I'm going to say right now, this is a god comp from TES. I mean, maybe some of the nerfs recently have taken some of the strengths of these champions down a bit, but I feel like Top Esports overall got everything that they wanted. An incredible poke composition, one that can siege really well. You have Tian on one of his best champions in the Wukong, and WE are going to have to get a little bit weird and wonky as we see them lock in a Yorick on R5.
Now, they have got, obviously, counterpicking that top side, and I will say, the Top Esports composition doesn't have a true tank, but I think you're exactly right that they've got the sustain more than WE have. With that Seraphine, just scales so well into the late game as a mage that can give you healing, can give you CC, can do really everything that you need from an enchanter, and so much better than a Milio can. The Erha Milio has got one sole source of disengage in the kick, and then he can use the Breath of Life to get away from one piece of CC. But Top Esports have sort of tripled down in that aspect, and they've gone, well, we've got Encore, Enchanted Crystal Arrow, and a gold card on repeat. So what are you going to do versus all of those in order to keep us at arm's length? And I think that the answer, unfortunately, for Top Esports or for WE is they're not going to do too much.
That early global presence from Creme on the Twisted Fate as well will be very important to try to help TES snowball what could be a good early game into a better late game to get them to that 3-0 series sweep. As WE is trying to avoid that, they're going to have to play very good, I think, particularly in the early game in order to make sure they do not fall too far behind.
Yeah, once again, another game that's sort of mandated by WE finding success early. An opportunity maybe for Cube to have a massive split push, but we will see as game number 3 loads up onto the Rift here.
Fans still active, representing their organizations. Will this be the final game of the day? Or will it be the start of something incredible? Could be something in between as well, depending on if maybe the 4-game series. I don't know.
Yeah.
6-7. Happy 6-7 to all who celebrate and observe.
To all who observe is a crazy sentence. Everybody observes 6-7. It's the rogue ones that celebrate it. That's the ruling here. It's already down on the bot side. E-start for about using it defensively to get away. Yeah, I've never been convinced by this Lucian Milio counter down on the bot side. I know it takes a couple of levels before it actually starts singing, but once it does, it can work, but level 1 is not that window.
Yeah, and that's the problem, because against Ashe Seraphine, from level 1, you are extremely strong, as we see. The volley plus that extra damage from the Q of fengyue just makes it so difficult for this short-range Lucian to do anything until he gets a couple of levels into his own right. And for a 3rd straight game, we see Top Esports shoving in an early wave and really gaining priority over this bottom side.
For the first game here, Monki not going to just dart it mid after, a few camps being skipped. So we'll see. Maybe he's going to skip his Gromp again and go for another play. But
yeah, don't speak too soon.
Yeah, this is a game, once again, where WE need to win early. All right, let's not mince our words here. We need to see them find an advantage early on and then look to snowball that. Otherwise, the scaling aspect that Top Esports have, this poke that Top Esports have, is really going to hurt.
And take a look at who needs to carry for WE throughout their playoff run. It has been Monki. This guy's stats in the playoffs entering today have been incredible. Today, they have not been. So if WE wants to get wins, it's going to have to be through their jungler on his most played champion of the season. Very slow, actually, on this full clear, just being the Zhao, using 2 smites and still being late to this Scuttle Crab from Tian.
He did take a recall to grab a longsword, and I guess that's to improve his combat power as we head towards top crab as well. Obviously, a little ward going down there, nice and easy to predict, or to see rather, where the Twisted Fate is going if there are any roams moving that way. But we've got all 3 spells now. for both of our bot laners, and this is theoretically the time when the Lucian, the Milio can start to fight back.
Just barely, but they've already paid the price in terms of losing both of their potions on both About and Erha, and also being down 8 CS. Speaking of being down CS, the top side of the map not looking pretty for Cube either. This Yorick matchup definitely one that scales a little bit better. The range versus melee early not going to be favorable against ZUIAN.
Not early on, at least. As you mentioned, will look better as it gets later.
Yeah.
I think moving forward, obviously, it's about Monki finding those early plays, and it's a little bit of a catch-22 here because we've berated him for looking for plays early. And
oh, looks like Top Esports could find an early play onto About. Down to 100 HP. Saves the barrier, though.
Does save the barrier, and I again, this is what About has done quite consistently, but the evolution of bot lane has been preserve your HP, use the barrier. Because now he's got to go back to base anyway, and JackeyLove has barrier advantage, yes, as well as the heal for fengyue about to come back up, but those are such short cooldowns that if it keeps you in a lane, then you should be using them. Now, as it is, About has to lose a full wave underneath his turret, and is going to miss out quite significantly in that experience department. But Top Esports already out the gate nice and early with a small advantage across the board. Remember that Twisted Fate passive is going to give you a little bit of a gold lead regardless, even just going even with your team. Karis able to slip away there from a nifty gank from Tian.
It's Creme hitting level 6 first. We'll see if he uses that Destiny early on as the dragon has just spawned. fengyue making an appearance mid as well, maybe just to help clear out this wave and get Creme a reset early on in this laning phase. Top Esports just on farm alone have already opened up a 1,000 gold lead, and the clock is ticking for Monki to start to get active on this map and to bail some of his laners out.
First Dragon could well be the place that they go to. Obviously with the push down on the bot side, it's a temporary advantage that they have got. If About looks to push this, could be in trouble. No 6 for the Wukong does mean that the gank not that scary just yet. I think it's a fight over this bot crab and a fight to ding level 6. If Tian gets it, he will secure level 6 here. Looks like there's a good amount of posturing by both of these sides. Mid lane, it's Destiny available for Creme, so advantage in favour of Top Esports.
We've seen many a game be flipped over this crab. Looks like Top Esports actually going to give this one over to Monki. He'll hit level 6 off of this most likely. Actually, he's still a little bit far behind. But we'll get it off of his next camp, or maybe a minion in the mid lane instead. Speaking of the mid lane, Karis jumps in, lands the electrocute block on to Creme, and Monki does eventually unlock his Crescent Guard.
Alrighty, well, you know what? Level 6 is picked up for both of our junglers as Tian, well, we're going to be able to get his Gromp and then his level 6. So Monki just slightly ahead of the curve. I mean, and I say slightly, but the rest of his team definitely struggling here. And Monki so far through the playoffs had been a really, really standout player, somebody that we were very excited to see. But unfortunately in this one has just not quite hit his stride in the way that we were expecting, in the way that he has so frequently in this playoffs so far. With a small gold lead and the burden of execution on his shoulders in this game number 3, in this do-or-die setup where the Miracle run through the upper bracket seemingly at risk.
Oh, bot lane though. Immediately play onto About. He pops the berry, but he gets gold carded by Creme, who comes forward with the Destiny. Traded back is fengyue, but it's only an execute. They did not hit the Seraphine a single time, and so the experience will go over, but not the gold.
So yeah, could be in trouble up on this top side. He is forced to flash by Cube, who on this Yorick has been able to weather the early game storm of the Jayce, now actually pushing a decent lead in that 1 versus 1 in terms of those HP bars. I'll draw your attention to the items here. ZUIAN not looking to go for combat with those items just yet. Has gone tier plus cull and still has a 20 CS lead over the Yorick.
Yeah, once you hit level 6, this is where the Yorick starts to have a little bit of extra power. You land a singular E onto the Jayce, and a lot of the HP bar goes away. The arrow from downtown is pure from JackeyLove. And Karis is going to try to make it a trade. Forces the flash out of Creme with Between Worlds and Monki to join the picture. It was flashy, but nothing more than that for Top Esports.
Yeah, arrow hits, and that's good, but we didn't actually get to see the follow-up come through. Karis uses the W there to break vision as Creme's gold card does run out in that timer. Both our mid lane is TPing back to the mid lane as pretty synced on the push of those buttons, but now in the river, Monki has started this one. Is JackeyLove going to have first move from bot?
Yeah, already a numbers advantage for top esports. Tian going to go forward. This time Monki wins the 1v1, but it's the wrong Monki, and it's the one that belongs to top. JackeyLove gets the kill onto the Xin Zhao, and a bout will go down next. Karis flashes into the pit to try to get one kill back, but he should pay for it with his life. Tian dashes over the wall. One final strike with his Q will seal a 4-1 scoreline for top esports.
It's another smite fight won by Tian. He's just had the better read on Monki on those neutral objectives pretty much throughout this entire series. ZUIAN going to add insult to injury by finding a little bit of free time to go and counter invade some chickens. He's going to lose a little bit of his HP for it, but it's the damage that's being done to Monki in this game continues and continues to develop.
Felt good about that play for WE. Monki thought he had a moment. Get onto a crucial carry to burst down Tian, but his team did not let it happen. fengyue on the Seraphine, providing a lot of value, and it results in a 3,000 gold lead opening up at the 10-minute mark. This is not where TES want, or where WE, I should say, want to be at all.
Yeah, and they focus so heavily onto Tian that just gives so much free time for JackeyLove, who's here first as well, to go for this. Maybe they're thinking that with a couple of crucial ultis not available, they can go for it, but about dead again. But
back to the bottom lane, gold card, arrow, everything issued onto about. He flashes away, still able to survive. Cozy campfire from Erha will make sure that the Lucian lives to see another day, but that day will be spent underneath his tier 1 turret still, as top esports issuing pressure by pressure.
And, you know, Creme here on this Twisted Fate, really good mobility on the map. 4 assists for him thus far has been pretty instrumental in the leads that are being generated by top esports. fengyue and Creme both with that 100% kill participation. And yeah, about lives, but he lives underneath his turret, and now he has to just sort of dance around trying to get farm as best as possible. He's constantly under pressure of being taken out by just an errant skill shot landing. If a volley into an E-connect, that's probably enough to root him, and then a flash auto or a Q or anything to do the rest of the work.
ZUIAN looking for a roam. Karis sniffs it out, ends up backing away. Cube starting to get going on this Yorick, but you take a look at the items, just a garage sale at this point. Nowhere close to a Trinity Force on this champion.
Hold on,
maybe
he's
some more
recalling
components when he resets, but it's going to be a while until we get a split pushing win condition here for WE.
Oh yeah, it's not looking good. I mean, you have to go for these plated steel caps up against the Jayce, and especially with the Wukong in the back as well. It's definitely good to get some double dipping on the armor early on. Means you're unlikely to be felled by a gank that comes on through unless you're way too far up. But we'll see if Cube can be that late game split push win condition that we need, because at this stage as well, we're starting to think, well, WE, we're pretty much getting to the end of where their early game power resides, and we're now waiting pretty much exclusively for a Yorick to start creating pressure and win on that side lane.
Yeah, because when top esports are grouped up as 5, gonna be pretty good for them. As we get some 2v2 fighting down here, the press the attack doing a lot of damage onto JackeyLove, who also had to pop the barrier. Dragon in a minute 30. So Monki getting some vision around that Scuttle Crab on the bottom side. Cube starting to do some work, and ZUIAN's gonna want to get out of this lane sooner rather than later.
Yeah, if that W lands, I actually think it's a solo kill for Cube. Flash wasn't quite available at that time, and maybe Storm Raiders Surge would have been able to get him out to safety after the fact, but Cube there. Small miss does mean that he loses out on a little bit there of a lead that he could have found for himself, as would like to actually see maybe an index into this Yorick. You know, who would have thought that at the start of this season we'd be thinking, if anybody's going to win this game and keep WE in the lead,
there it is, Flash Q! There it is, solo kill, in for Cube!
And yep, you know what? As I was saying, who would have thought that the lifeblood of WE, the one that's going to keep them in this upper bracket for the playoffs, would be Cube? Well, currently in this game, it is all him. Hopefully he can take the tier 1 turret as well, but looks like he's going to save that for another day. Not mess up the tempo too much. If he gets the Trinity Force off this base, then this could be the start of something truly magical for WE.
Gonna have to play through side laning, through picks, playing the macro game, which is never easy against a good team like Top Esports, especially one that has a twisted fate in the mid lane. But that is going to be the goal. It must be accomplished. WB want to stay alive in this best of 5 series. Dragon about to spawn. Monki already eating a boatload of damage. Crescent Guard used, but it might be too late. That's a second proc of the Cyclone. Will seal his fate. A 2-man encore come through from fengyue. And the arrow once again from downtown. Erha will drop. Karis is next. And Top Esports will wipe another fight.
And Monki here just throwing his life away by dashing over that wall. He takes far too much damage from the Trinity Force of Tian, ends up going down in the 1 versus 2, and then fengyue, excellent encore flash, finds the other 2 members that are knocking around, Erha and Karis. Erha are able to limp away, or not necessarily falling there, but even still. It's Top Esports coming away with a second Dragon and a 5k gold lead.
You know, we had a lot of really one-sided early games for TES in this series so far. This might be the most at this point, as Top Esports looking dominant, except maybe in the top lane. But ZUIAN is going to send his mid laner up to try to have that conversation reversed. Cube, Alcove Gaming at this point maybe can try to get one back. One more Q would have taken down ZUIAN, but he's not able to get into range, and so Creme should be able to finish this off with the wild.
Alrighty, you know, it was a little bit hairy there for a second, but fortunately enough, a 1-for-0 on the top side, and that's really all that they need. And Monki here, he's out, he's got the knock-up, he's done the disengage thing, and then he just goes back in, and it's a pretty big disaster, to be completely honest with you. No reason for him to do that. Eyes on fengyue, though, look at this, channels his ulti, really good timing as well, goes in for the flash after the fact, catches both of them. Erha just about able to limp away off the back of this, it looks like, as throws up a kick. Tian doesn't quite find it, but if that's the saving grace in this one, it's not boding too well. And Cube falling on the top side also. You know, that one area of the map that might have been going well is now not. And that just adds further insult to the injury here for WE.
Yeah, he's winning the skirmishes, but it's still down 40 CS, and this Jayce out of lane is going to be very, very good still for this TES composition. Tian waiting in a bush, but Monki showing face to make sure that they do not engage into a 2v2. So Cube just going to shove this wave in and allow for WB to try to play somewhere else on the map.
It's quite nice.
Wow, he's
what's
still
not quite
here.
Nice is, yeah, well, the Tian is still just lurking around. The Spidey sense is tingling. I mean, fengyue is there as well. The bait.
Okay, it looks like they're really going hard for this one. Tian does not have a flash. They're just going to chunk out Cube with the accelerated shock blast. WE do have a numbers advantage now into the mid lane until the teleport comes in from Creme.
Yeah, you know, that's not nothing. They get an advantage picked up. It's mid lane TP. You know, Creme's already pushed a very sizable wave down to the bot side, so it doesn't cost them anything. It's not like that wave down on the bot lane isn't going to be picked up. Odds are somebody walks out too there. Looks like ZUIAN is going to be the one who's going to walk out bot lane, pick up the wave being pushed in by Karis. So nothing particularly lost here for Top Esports, but they now no longer have that ability to make the play. And I don't think that matters, right? We highlighted this at the top of the game. Top Esports probably scale better. They're probably not too obliged to make things happen currently in the game. So if they can just stay strong, do the almost bare minimum here, probably going to coast themselves to a nice 3-0 and what is a well-deserved spot at MSI. They've been incredibly consistent throughout this entire playoffs. Karis now spotted on his way in. But Top Esports have just been levels above everybody that they've played and will be our rightful recipients of that the MSI spot even.
A lot of people maybe hesitant about Top Esports' chances to do well in this playoffs, especially after their rocky finish to the regular season, ending 2-4 over their final 6 matches. So far in the playoffs, it has looked nothing but golden. Speaking of golden, that could be a card that comes out here for Creme as he issues the Destiny. Tian steals away the red buff, is able to get away with the empowered blast gun.
Instead, it's Creme working his way nicely through that top tier 1 turret. Has flash, so Dark Procession not the biggest of threats right now. With a Rod of Ages and a Lich Bane, he's farming incredibly well. You see that 2.5k gold lead, and with a 7 CS difference, it's not like it's coming exclusively from the farm, but 2 kills, 5 assists, the turret platings as well. 100% kill participation for Creme in this one. He's done an incredible job at getting his team rolling and keeping himself ahead.
Probably rapid fire cannon up next to add to that long range engage that top esports already have. Jet Crystal Arrow, that's a global spell. TF gold card with rapid fire feels close to it if you get to certain stages of the game. As TS still looking to fight in the mid lane, gain some priority before this dragon spawns in 30 seconds. If they can claim this Chemtech soul point, would be nigh impossible for WE to get back into this one and by the way of a soul.
Maybe there's just going to be a little bit of that Hail Mary energy from WE. Monki goes in, gets a decent chunk onto Tian there, but with the Sundered Sky, probably going to be able to get that HP back up. There's some good damage comes in onto the bot lane of top esports, and maybe that's enough.
Okay.
Maybe that secures them a dragon here. The mid game of this composition, definitely not something to be snubbing your nose at. Walks forward threatening with a gold card, but again, WE, they've got this advantage, but they're not doing anything with it.
Looking for a fight instead of going for the dragon. Rift Herald popped in the mid lane by Tian. He's going to use it to immediately take down this first turret in the mid lane. And now drive into it until Monki smites it away, but again, it's not the objective going over to WE. They thought they might have had an advantage with JackeyLove chunk to half, but instead, they'll just regain control mid while everybody else on TES will be making their way towards Cube on the top side.
Looks like he's got flash available. Good dodge from Creme there. Can't wait on getting range. Dark Obsession goes up to stop it. Tian.
Okay. Nice flash.
Hopping over the wall does stop that. Pulling comes down, and we'll see if this can actually result in a tier 1 turret falling for WE. But, I mean, with Destiny available, with Tian closing, WE lurk too long, they're going to find themselves in a bit of trouble.
Yeah, arrow lands on a Karis. He throws out the weirding, but it does not connect onto JackeyLove. Tier 2 turret on the top side, sure to go down as well. The saving grace for WE is they're able to deny the soul stack, at least for the moment, by picking up the Chemtech with the rest of top esports around the top side of the map. But now they turn their attention towards mid. Cyclone lands here for Tian. Another 2 knockups come through with the R2. About it to flash away, but he will be able to get the shutdown onto the Wukong. Teleport comes in from Cube, just to make sure that the rest of his team can escape. Top esports end up going a little bit too far.
And maybe it is that Milio ulti, just a breath of life breathed back into WE here. It's a 1 for nothing, but it's the first advantage that it feels like they found almost this entire series. And one that doesn't come at any cost either, I think, is the important part here. Another breakdown for this one. Tian just goes a little bit too far forward. Thinks he's got the support of his mid lane. In fairness, Creme gets in there, but just not quite able to do enough damage. Great space being bought by that front line, by Monki in particular. Still getting the work done here in this one.
Well played by About as well. Just able to flash away from a couple of those big spells, including the Encore from fengyue, to make sure he gets out with his life. And hey, now he is the one, Roodood, with a gold advantage in the bottom lane. He's got an Infinity Edge second item, most likely working towards something along the lines of a Phantom Dancer third. The Lucian will be strong. Oh, Flicker Blades, that makes sense. This Lucian will be powerful in the next few minutes. Will he be as powerful as the rest of TS, though? I don't know.
Oh yeah, and that's the real problem here. The Lucian's time in the sun usually is about elapsing at this point, as in, it's usually coming to an end, where if you aren't ahead at this stage, and palpably so, there's a problem afoot. And maybe we'll see that be envisioned here by WE as definitely going to be a problem if they can't get About into these fights and can't keep him safe as well. Obviously a pretty tall task for the Lucian to be able to carry versus what is a very difficult team for him to negotiate. He gets outranged by pretty much everybody except for the Wukong, and if the Wukong's on top of you, that is also a pretty big problem. Hopefully with the Milio in his back pocket, he can do something here, but this has been WE's bread and butter the entire playoffs.
Monki faces the bush again! It feels like a story that we've told throughout all 3 games so far. Monki, seemingly with knowledge of where the enemy is, just runs straight into them.
He keeps his Crescent Guard, again every cloud, but this is at a point where if your jungler dies, top esports will not hesitate to rip the Baron. If your jungler's alive, top esports will not hesitate to rip the Baron here. Blue Ward goes over, spots this out. Top Esports, this feels like the way they can throw.
Yeah, I don't think they're looking to finish. They're looking to force a fight, get a couple of summoner spells potentially out of the WE members. Creme providing so much space with this gold card, but he now has to flash away. Enchanted Crystal though lands onto a bout. Nice knockback here with the Crescent Guard. Make sure that Tian does not land the Encore. It goes on to Cube. In goes the Wukong, and the Cyclone will take him down. Into Monki next. Creme with the Destiny Gate, able to clean up the fight and potentially clean up this series. It is a 4-0 for Top Esports as they will make their way back towards the Baron.
And with a 9k gold lead in tow as well. Top Esports have had WE's number this entire split, and the playoffs are no different here, Grapes. 3-0 looking very much on the cards. We'll take the inhibitor and we'll take the Baron. There are no responses from WE. As for Top Esports, this is just clinical to book their spot at MSI. A 3-level lead for Creme once again in the mid lane.
Looking much like what happened in the regular season, much like what happened in the playoffs one split ago as we take another look at this fight.
And about, again, doing what he can to try and get some damage down. The fact that actually he eats the Enchanted Crystal Arrow without getting Breath of Life through. You can see it's fengyue who's trying to find that angle with the ulti. Immediately then Breath of Life used. But there's so much follow-up. There's so many flashes that just go forward. Top Esports say they've had enough. Find WE just that little bit too far forward, just to step over the line. And now trying to contest their own jungle. I don't know that that's a possibility either.
This series really has never looked competitive. It's been Top Esports dominating from Game 1 all the way up to Game 3. The gold leads at 11,500. With Tian and JackeyLove returning to the fray, TES are looking to make it back to the international stage.
Dragon is live here, a bit of a formality for Top Esports with the Baron at their backs. They'll be able to just push in, take down this neutral, not particularly pose too many problems. As WE licking their wounds, trying to find some sort of gold and about. He's had to go for the rapid fire cannon. It's not optimal for the Lucian. You'd love the flicker blades to be dancing around, getting more spells off, but just with the way that the enemy composition functions, feels like that range is mandated in his build path. So he's opted for that. And now with Top Esports pushing in on 2 lanes, looking to break open the base, and they do so through mid.
Erha took 60% of his HP from one shock blast of ZUIAN, and now WE are in desperation mode. They throw out the culling just to try to clear out some of the wave. Enchanted Crystal Arrow will land, but the Breath of Life will keep Monki alive. Top Esports currently sieging on 2 lanes, bottom lane the next to follow.
And now it's Encore. How well does that work? Especially with the Breath of Life down on cooldown, fengyue not going to have flash for any fight that comes up, but if you can layer one over Tian, definitely going to have a good angle. Top Esports, they've broken mid, they've now broken bot lane, and that's the second inhibitor that's going to fall.
A retreat back for a little bit of health from WE will result in those 2 inhibs going down. Team WE have their backs against the wall and then some in this game, in this series. And it looks more likely than not a trip to the lower bracket to face the winner of AL and BLG is ahead of them.
The upper bracket run has been nothing but magic here for WE. Does look like it's going to come to an end though. And for Top Esports, an almost seamless transition to an MSI and to an upper final and to trying to claim another LPL title. Obviously still got the grand finals for them to sign, seal and deliver that one, but depending on who their opponent is, we might favour them, we might favour whoever makes that lower bracket run. Baron ends Top Esports 1,700 gold, which in the scheme of things, not that great, but the lead was so massive to begin with that there's not that much gold extra that they can gain.
Yeah, and about already chunked the half again. Not looking good. It's a 3rd inhibitor tower. It could be in trouble next. About throws out the culling to make sure that Monki can escape, but he can only go back to his own fountain. So again, just repeat that process all over again. Gold lead has continued to grow. No more Baron buff, though, in the hands of top. Makes things a little bit easier for WE.
Tian can just position on this flank, consistently look for an engage,
Karis.
and that's a gold card into Accelerated Shock Blast. Karis is out.
Now another gold card lands onto Cube as well. Third inhibitor tower of the game has gone down. Shock Blast again chunking out WE as they're being suffocated underneath their own base. The third inhibitor will go down. There's super minions already pushing mid and bot. This could just be the final push, Rood.
It's clinical, it's brutal, and the enemy of Magic being science. They've been in the lab here to cook this one up.
Knock up onto Tian, but he's not going to be taken down nearly enough. JackeyLove now unlocked with the Rangers focus. Encore comes out, it connects onto 3, and the rookie fengyue brought the cookies, and Tian's about to deliver the milk. Already he goes down though, but about underneath his own fountain, going to still be taken down. The Nexus is now exposed. WE's run has been special, but today even they must submit to the top dogs of the LPL. TES back to Grand Finals, TES to MSI.